nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Welcome to Veterans Air, this Veterans Hour, your source for news, talk, and uncensored commentary for the veteran community here on the Lone Star Community Radio. I'm your host, Douglas B., and you can listen to new shows the first Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. You can also check us out at veteransair.us on this station's Facebook, on Conroe's FM 106.1 and 104.5, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you get your fine podcasts. As always, I'm going to start with a little housekeeping. You can contact Veterans Air through our website at www.veteransair.us. Leave us a message, or better yet, you can contact us in the studio on our Google phone, 936-344-3083. Today we're going to talk about the Major Richard Starr Act. And if you know it, then this is all going to be information you already know. If you don't know what this is going to be very educational. So who is, or who was, in this case, Major Richard Starr? Major Richard Starr is a native of Garfield Heights, Ohio. He began his military career enlisting in June of 1988, where he rose through the ranks to become a staff sergeant and platoon sergeant before accepting a direct commission into the Corps of Engineers in 2004. So he came in, he's enlisted, got to staff sergeant, became an officer. Major Starr served in a wide range of different positions. He deployed with the 78th Quartermaster Company out of Marion, Ohio, to support the 18th Airborne Corps for Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. He served as a platoon leader in Company XO in Bravo Company, 841st Engineering Battalion out of Orlando, Florida. He then deployed with the 391st Engineering Battalion to Afghanistan and with Task Force Wildcat, where he conducted construction and clearance operations, and then deployed with Bravo Company, 841st, I'm having a problem today, 841st Engineering Battalion to Iraq to conduct routine clearance operations. Returning to the United States, Starr served as a platoon leader and mentor while serving with the 3rd of the 347th Regiment, 158th Brigade in Orlando, Florida, as a staff officer in the 158th Infantry Brigade in Camp Shelby, Mississippi, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. So, wide range of responsibilities, wide range of experiences. Starr was a graduate of both the Engineering Officer's Basic Course and Engineer Captain's Career Course at Fort Lost in the Woods, Missouri. Yes, I did say Fort Lost in the Woods for all of you guys who are at Fort Leonard. I'm sorry. He completed his undergraduate study. I got a lot of notes today. From the Mount Vernon University with a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration. He is also a certified, or was a certified project management professional. And as a PMP myself, I'll tell you, that is not an easy feat. And that's hard to do. But why is all that important? Why do we need to know the history of Major Richard Starr? I'm going to tell you why. And this leads into all of us veterans. After deploying or rather, after he got back, he developed terminal lung cancer from the toxic burn pit exposure. He advocated for veterans' rights before dying in February 2021. The Major Richard Starr Act is named in his honor, aiming to secure full, concurrent retirement and disability pay for combat disabled veterans with under 20 years of service. Let's unpack that. Got cancer, he died because of exposure to the burn pits. And that happened before the PAC Act. Now, when you're injured or ill in the military and you get out, there's two ways that you're getting out. One is you're medically retired, and the second is you're separated, medically separated. They are two separate things. One's a retirement, and one is, here's your hat, here's a chicken dinner, have a good day. While Major Starr was deployed to Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield in Iraq and Afghanistan, on his final deployment, he began coughing up blood. In 2018, he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, which was attributed to environmental exposures in combat zones, the PAC Act. But this was before the PAC Act's time. Despite undergoing chemotherapy, he fought for legislation to correct a policy that prevented medically retired, combat-injured veterans with less than 20 years of service from receiving their full pensions. Let's unpack that. So, think of yourself as Major Starr here. You have a terminal diagnosis of lung cancer. You can tie that back to burn pits. The Army decides that they're going to medically retire you. So you don't have 20 years yet in, but you're going to be medically retired. The way the law currently is, if you're medically retired, you cannot collect your full military retirement and VA disability. They're offset to each other because collecting both is known as double dipping, quote unquote. So while you can collect your VA benefits and you can actually collect your retirement, what you collect for VA benefits is subtracted from your retirement. So you're not getting the benefit of both. And remember, this applies only to those that are medically retired. When he passed away in February of 2021, he left behind his wife, Tanya, and his therapy dog, Otis. What are they supposed to do? The Major Richard Starr Act, in case you're curious, it's H.R. 1282 and Senate Bill 344, that was introduced to Congress to allow combat-injured veterans to receive both the Department of Veteran Affairs disability compensation and Department of Defense retirement pay. As of late 2025, the legislation continues to be advocated by veteran groups. So this Major Richard Starr Act is still working through the processes of becoming a law. And the veteran service organizations such as the VFW, the American Legion, and so forth, DAV, they're all advocating for this. They say this is a good thing and we should do it. As a disabled veteran myself, and I wasn't medically separated or medically retired, the premise, our understanding when we raise our right hand is that you break me, you're going to fix me. That's not always true, that they can fix you. So they give you disability rating and go, this you're 40% disabled, so here's a couple of $1,000. That's not true. At 40%, it's not a couple of $1,000. It's only like $1,000. If you retire, however, if you retire with 20 years of active military service and are rated at 50% military disability, you can collect the full retirement benefits of both. This is known as concurrent receipt or concurrent retirement and disability pay. Automatic payment for retirees with 20 plus years of service and a 50 to 100% VA rating is restoring previously reduced retirement pay. You, as the veteran, need to understand this. You need to go do this. And I'll give you a real life situation. One of my veterans is 20 plus years retired and 100% total and permanent. If this individual did not go and apply for this CRDP, this concurrent retirement and disability pay, they would not be collecting both. They'd only be collecting one and the other one offset. So why this is an automatic give me, you still need to apply for it. You still need to put in the paperwork. Combat-related special compensation is another thing that you as a veteran need to be aware of. For those with combat-related injuries, even if rated under 50%, this requires the application to your service branch, and you cannot receive both CRDP and CRSC simultaneously. Again, you have to apply for it, and you get to choose one or the other. I would hazard to guess that a lot of retirees out there that are combat disabled are unaware of these two programs and are not taking care of these two programs. You're leaving benefits on the table simply because we don't know about them. Now, there is a thing known as the under 50% rule when talking about these two things. If your VA disability rating is less than 50%, you typically cannot receive both in full the military retirement pay, and it is usually reduced by the amount of the VA compensation. You served 20 years, you served 22 plus years. You got hurt. You retired. You think you're going to get your full pension, your full retirement pay, and your VA disability, which you're rated at less than 50%. No, you're not. You're not going to get those. You're going to get your VA disability, absolutely, positively. You're going to get your VA disability. But your retirement pay, that 50% that you're getting from the VA, is taken out of your retirement pay. So you're not getting the benefit of both. Now, those things are important. We need to keep them in mind as we go through today. The Major Richard Starr Act proposes to change this rule. That's what this act, if passed into law, is going to do. It's going to change the rule. Chapter 61 retirees, it's medically retired, like Major Starr, are service members who were medically retired due to injuries sustained on duty prior to achieving 20 years of service. Under the current law, such retirees are not eligible for concurrent receipt, meaning their military longevity pay is reduced by the amount of VA disability compensation they receive. That's what we just went through. The Major Richard Starr Act is going to change that if passed. And how is it going to get passed? Well, it's only going to get passed if you and me talk to our congressmen and our senators saying that we need to do this. They need to pass that. Now, I had a brief conversation last when Morgan, our congressman, was in town. And I spoke to him about this, and he's in agreement with us that we need to pass this. Excuse me for a moment. Now, we need to talk about how veterans currently are actually being penalized for being veterans that have retired or medically retired and service-connected disabilities. But before we jump into that, I have to give a shout out to our sponsors because these are very important people that sponsor this show. Veterans Air is made possible by the support of East Meets West Productions, a full-service business and marketing consulting firm helping veterans start and fund their businesses for over 30 years. For more information, call 361-904-0044. I love East Meets West because not only do they sponsor the show, but they actually pay me my salary to be here talking to you. That's wonderful. And they have a boatload of experience starting and funding veteran-owned businesses. If you're a veteran-owned business, you need to talk to East Meets West, EMW Productions. You tell them Doug sent you, good people, they'll take care of you. Speaking of sponsoring this show, I would be remiss if I did not tell you a couple of things. First and foremost, do you know what Lone Star Community Service charges me to produce this show? Nothing. They don't charge me anything. Dick's a good guy. But that not charging me is coming out of the back of Dick's pocket, back of Lone Star Community Radio. You need to go over to Lone Star Community Radio, irlonestar.com, or veteransair.us, and smash that donate button and donate. That goes directly to the radio station. You can also give Dick a call and say, hey, I want to be a sponsor for Veterans Air. And he'll send you over the sponsor kits, and you're paying the radio station, and then you get your shout out here on Veterans Air. And we give them a nice commercial that they can do, right, Dick? Dick's saying, yeah, well, produce a commercial for you, all that other good stuff. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunity to get your company or yourself in front of the veteran community. So, what were we talking about? Oh, how are veterans being penalized? Let me read this to you. Veterans forced to medically retire due to combat or combat-related injuries do not receive their full military retirement pay from the Department of Defense and their full disability compensation from the Department of the Veterans Affairs. Their DoD retirement pay is offset dollar for dollar by the amount of the VA disability pay they receive, resulting in some veterans receiving no retirement benefits at all. Resulting in some veterans receiving no retirement benefits at all. You know, there is retirement pay and VA disability are mutually exclusive. They're mutually exclusive. Retirement is what you get because you served X number of years. VA disability is what you get because they broke you. If the Department of War now, if the Department of War says you can't be in the military anymore because of your illness, you got terminal cancer, whatever the case may be. If you can't be in the military anymore, we're going to militarily retire you. You've served 10, 15 years, whatever the case may be. We're going to just military retire you. And you would collect retirement pay up until you file with the VA, and the VA goes, oh, you're broke, Dick. Here's some money because we broke you and we're not going to fix you. When that happens, this country takes whatever your disability pay is and deducts that from your retirement pay. Does that seem fair to you? Because it doesn't to me. What are the benefits of the Richard Starr Act? This legislation allows veterans to choose whether to stay in the combat-related special compensation program or opt out and receive their VA compensation and the entirety of their military retirement pay. Veterans can choose the option that makes the most financial sense to them. In a nutshell, that's what this act, when passed, is going to do. It's going to give you, the medically retired veteran, the choice. Combat-related special compensation provides tax-free payments to retired veterans with combat-related disabilities. That's what it does. It's tax-free payments to retired veterans with combat-related disabilities. This is different than you've been separated from the military because of an injury or an illness. That's medically separated. That's not retired. Veterans must meet the following criteria for the combat-related special compensation to apply. Must be retired. You have to have retired. Have a disability rating of at least 30%. That's Chapter 61 retirees. Have a service-connected disability caused by combat, hazardous duty, training for combat, or exposure to instruments of war. I want to read that again. Have a service-connected disability caused by combat, hazardous duty, training for combat, or exposure to instruments of war. That's important, and I got to tell you a story of why that's important. So, here's an individual. He's in AIT, Advanced Individual Training. He's in Army. And he cut his hand on a glass Snapple bottle. And that injury was such that he could no longer do push-ups or pull-ups because he cut his hand. He's not able to do that any longer. He can still receive a VA disability rating, but it would not be a service-connected disability caused by combat, hazardous duty, training for combat, or exposure to instruments of war. That's a big one. That's a big one. Those that do have a service-connected disability caused by hazardous duty, combat, training for combat, exposure, or instruments of war, we know. We know that this is how we got our injury. Not all injuries are the same when we're talking about the VA. So to apply, a veteran must first apply for service-connected disability through the VA and also apply directly through their branch of service for combat-related special compensation. Your branch then decides whether your service-connected disabilities are eligible for combat-related special compensation pay. Now, Marines, just so you know, you have to go through the Department of Navy. As you all know, I talk to a lot of veterans throughout the United States. And while I do not fill out their forms for them, I help them understand what information the VA is looking for. One of the deciding factors of your compensation when talking about combat-related special compensation is when did the injury happen and what were you doing while it happened? If you were on a road march and you slipped and fell and you hurt your back carrying the Prick 77 radio, that is probably not a combat-related special compensation pay. How is that training for combat? How is that combat-related or hazardous duty? It's not. So when you're talking about combat-related special compensation payments for retirees and a service-connected disability, You may be medically retired under Chapter 61, and you may have a VA disability of, let's say, 40%. But that VA disability, those injuries or illnesses, have to be caused by combat-related operations in order to be of benefit for you to receive a combat-related special compensation. See how that works? Loopholes within loopholes within loopholes. So, the question you may be asking yourself is, if I qualify, what happens when Congress passes this bill? Veterans who qualify for combat-related special compensation and the benefits offered under the Major Richard Starr Act will receive a letter during the opening season, that's January of each year, and this letter will allow them to stop receiving combat-related special compensation and begin receiving their concurrent retirement and disability pay from the DoD if they choose. So let's say you qualify for this combat-related special compensation, and the Richard Starr Act passes and becomes law. In January, you're going to get a letter, and it's going to ask you what you want to do. You can either continue to receive your combat-related special compensation, or you can choose to receive your concurrent retirement and disability pay from the DoD. You get to choose, and that choosing is going to be based on whatever is fiscally better for you. I guess I should say that. Because all the money is not the same. All the monies is not the same. So you need to become aware of what you're receiving, when you're receiving, how much you're receiving, and why are you receiving that. And that is going to help you to determine what's best fiscally or financially, I guess is the word I'm looking for you. I can't tell you what that is. Will I be eligible for back pay if the Major Richard Starr Act is passed? No. Of course not. This is our government. No, it's not retroactive. Why would I want to stay with the combat-related special compensation instead of taking advantage of the Richard Starr Act when it becomes law? Every veteran's financial situation is unique and depends on factors such as length of service or rank. And it's important to note that combat-related special compensation payments are tax-free but may be reduced by things like monthly survivor benefit premiums or court-ordered garnishments. Because of these differences, every veteran should have the opportunity to choose what works best for them and their individual needs. Now, if you remember last month's show, we talked about the COLA increase, and I broke down what it was and how you should calculate it and what's best and whatnot and whatnot. If you did not get to see that in your news feed on Facebook, it's because they've blocked it. Because they said that I was giving out financial advice. So they blocked it. But you can still find it on YouTube. You can see it on the radio station and whatnot. And like last month's show, this month's show is just making you aware of what your financials, how your financials could be impacted. I'm not telling you what's best for you. I'm not giving you any advice of what you should do. I'm just making you aware of what's out there and how those changes or proposed changes can affect you. How am I doing time-wise, Dick? I haven't been 30 minutes yet.
You just hit 30.
Outstanding. We're in sync. How do I choose the option that's best for me is the next question. Each year during open season, that's January, veterans will receive a letter showing the amounts they could receive under both benefit options. Since retirees can only choose one option, the letter allows them to select the best one for them. January is key because that's open season. Just like today, or last month rather, and you're a disabled veteran receiving VA compensation, you received a letter from the VA telling you what your rating is and how much you're going to be paid each month. You're going to receive, if the act passes, you're going to receive another letter from the VA specifically tailored to your combat-related special compensation and will advise you of what changes you may need to make that are financially responsible for yourself. Now, as I travel around the state and the country, I hear this myth more than anything else. Veterans are double dipping when they receive both benefits of retirement and VA compensation. I hear that all the time. You can't double dip. You're getting paid twice for something that only happened once. And I think this myth comes about because people just don't know. People just don't know. I was actually having a conversation via WhatsApp past couple of days with a person that is not military. Didn't serve in the military. Nobody in her family served in the military. She's got a great uncle that serves in the military, but that's it. They know nothing about the military and what the military does or how veterans are compensated for what the military does. Next month, I'm going to be 62. I'm going to be 62 years old next month. I tell people all the time, it's not the years that made my body like this, but the miles. Military service is strenuous. Military service is hazardous. And then when you throw somebody into a combat situation, it you're smiling, Dick, because you know I can't say that word. It aggravates that situation. Exasperates. Should the military person who decided he was going to serve his country or her country, as the case may be, and they're injured, should that individual be compensated for that injury? If the injury is permanent, yes. If it can be fixed, the military has to fix it. But there's a lot of things out there that can't be fixed. I'm a prime example of that. And I receive compensation for that, less than 50%. I know you're looking at me and you go, Doug, how can you be less than 50%? That's a whole other series of shows. That's what the law says. The law says you break them, you buy them. Now, let's take a look at retirees, which I wanted to be one of those. My plans were to stay in the military until they kicked me out, and they did. But I had planned to retire. I was going to be a soldier my entire life. That's what my plan to attack was. If I had been medically retired instead of just medically separated, if I had been medically retired, I could make a claim that, yes, I'm getting disability, but I should also get my retirement pay. Am I getting full 20-year retirement and serving only 10 plus years? No, of course not. And who would take that? That's just not right. But the service decided to retire me. I didn't make that decision. So, service, you should pay me for that. That's not double dipping. That's receiving the benefits that were contractually, excuse me, were contractually yours to receive. DoD retirement pay and VA disability compensation are different benefits created for two distinct reasons. Retirement pay compensates the retirees for the years of service sacrificed to defend this nation. In contrast, VA disability pay compensates for the loss of future earned income due to service-connected disabilities. Congress allows close to 1 million retirees or a million retired veterans with 20 plus years of service and a disability rating of 50% or higher to receive both their retirement and VA disability compensation. If you're retired and you're 50% or more, then you can collect both. That's the law. The Major Richard Starr Act would provide the same opportunity to about 54,000 veterans who were forced to retire because of combat or combat-related injuries. They were forced to retire. And this affects, at the end of 2025, it affected 54, or would affect 54,000 veterans. That's it. 54,000 veterans. Because I will tell you that the military as a whole, in general, as a whole, will medically separate you before they'll medically retire you. That's just the way it is. Now, I have to read to you, and this is kind of long, because it's law. I have to read to you what is the difference between medically retired and medically separated. The primary difference between military medical retirement and medical separation is the Department of Defense, the primary difference between military medical retirement and medical separation is that the Department of Defense disability rating and long-term benefits. Medical retirement is 30% or higher rating with 20 plus years of service, and this provides lifetime pay, TRICARE, and benefits, whereas medical separation under a 30% rating typically provides a one-time severance payment and fewer long-term benefits. Medically retired, the DoD disability rating of greater than or equal to 30% or 20 plus years of service. Those benefits, or those who have the benefits, are eligible for permanent or temporary retirement, monthly lifetime compensation, full TRICARE health coverage for the member and dependents, and commissary exchange privileges. It's just like if you retired after 20 years. Considered a retired veteran regardless of the years of service if the rating is high enough. If placed on temporary disability retirement list, conditions are reevaluated periodically. That's medically retired. Medically separated is a DoD disability rating of less than 30% and less than 20 years of service. Benefits for somebody who's medically separated receives a one-time lump sum severance pay, typically 2 months of basic pay for each year of service, capped at 19 years. TRICARE typically ends 6 months after separation, unlike lifetime coverage for retirements. And the discharge from service, and you're not considered a retiree. Based on that, ladies and gentlemen, what do you want to be? Do you want to be medically separated or medically retired if you're injured? I want to be medically retired. I didn't get that way. Some key takeaways from this, what we went through today, is the 30% threshold is the defining line between retirement versus separation. 30%. Less than 30%, you're separated. More than 30%, you can be retired. It has to be service-connected. Both require the conditions to be service-connected. Your disability has to be service-connected. Even if separated by the Department of Defense, the Department of Veterans Affairs may still determine whether the disability is service-connected for compensation and VA healthcare or not. I have a young veteran. Served his 4 years, got hurt, they medically separated him. The Army medically separated him with a disability rating of 30%. He goes to the VA, and the VA says, well, yeah, we know that the DOD gave you 30%, but we've made the determination that your injury was not service-connected. Has that happened to you? It's happened to me. They tell me that my neck was not service-connected. The rest of my spinal cord, oh yeah, that's service-connected, but not your neck. Because in the VA world, the neck bone is not connected to the backbone. The neck bone is not connected to the head bone. That's just the way the VA is. You, newly retired or medically separated or just plain old getting out, and you active duty members listening to me, take this to heart. Understand this. Do your research. Apply for your benefits. Because this makes all the difference in the world to you. Not today, but further down the line. If I had known back then what I know now, I wouldn't have just gotten out. I would not have. When you choose to join the military, you join it for a couple of different reasons. You join it because you're patriotic. You join it for the benefits, or you join it because you're slightly retarded and didn't know any better. Most of us are option C. Knowledge is power, my brothers and sisters. Combat-related special compensation, retirement, VA disability, the Major Richard Starr Act, they're all important to you today. This is just a brief overview of what's going on and asking you to contact your senators and your congressmen to pass this act. It may not affect you, it may affect you, but it does affect 54,000 of our brothers and sisters that are unfairly being penalized for situations that are beyond their control. Talk to your congressman, talk to your senators, tell them to pass the Richard Starr Act. Now I'm at 15 minutes or less than that, 5 minutes, right? Good. I have 5 minutes, so I'm going to go fast on what's happening because there are some things in Conroe that are happening that you might want to take care of. Over at the Crichton Theater, there's Of Mice and Men. John Steinbeck, classic novel, great. It's running February 6th through the 21st. Crichton Theater, check them out. An Evening of Magic with Harry Maurer, live magic performance at the Owen Theater on the 13th. Some things that are going on, some festivals and seasonal events. Conroe celebrates its local heritage and the season with various outdoor and themed events. the Isaac Conroe Founders Day celebration. It's at Founders Park. That's on February 19th. It starts at 4 p.m. The Go Texan Pride Parade, do that here in Conroe. It's a parade every year. That's Saturday the 21st. Montgomery County Market Days Strawberry Festival, a market featuring local vendors and seasonal items, this Saturday, February 7th, starting at 10 a.m. Hey, Blondie, we're coming to see you. Want some bread? Some other things that are going on. Conroe Boat Show over at the Convention Center. The Mardi Gras celebration on the 15th. It's an indoor parade event over at the Lone Star Convention Center. Lone Star Throwdown, February 22nd, the 20th and the 22nd. Massive custom car and truck show at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. We should go, Dick. Maybe we can get like an SS or something. And I talked about the Texan Pride Parade on the 21st. Parade starts at 1 p.m. in downtown Conroe. So a lot's happening in February. Find your sweetheart. Take her to one of these things. February 14th is Valentine's Day. If you have any ideas of what I can get my wife to that would show her my enduring and everlasting love for this woman, please let me know. After 42 years of marriage, I'm out of ideas. So I need to end right now, right? Okay. You'll want to turn in on March 3rd at 1 p.m. for our next show. As always, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but it's going to be something interesting, and I'll try to make it entertaining since the last two shows are boring. I want to leave you with this song by our friend Sailor Jerry. Go download it from veteransair.us or on iTunes, and while listening, let us remember our brothers and sisters in uniform that today are standing in harm's way for our freedoms and our liberties. If you are wearing the uniform, I want to tell you thank you. I want to tell you I'm proud of you. And until next month, stay safe and stay vigilant.
We're going to cut out their living guts and